mind sharing the story of how you chose to get your leg amputated? There must have been a point where you figured that it was time.
Yeah, it was January 2006. Got out of bed. Well, tried to get out of bed. Couldn't put any weight on my left foot. Hurt like heck. So I went back to bed. I I was an outside salesperson, commission only for the most part. So if I didn't want to go into work, I didn't have to go into work. And this had happened before. My foot was sore. You go walk around Costco and you're on those hard concrete floors, and my foot would get sore and I couldn't walk for several hours or even a day sometimes. Well, this time the day turned into a week, turned into a couple of weeks, and I wasn't much of a go to the doctor person. I mean, I'd gone to the doctor so many times as a kid, I really avoided the doctor at all costs. And I finally went in, and they decided to give me a couple of options. They said, look, we can go in and we can try to clean out the ankle, but and then fuse the ankle, but it'll probably only last a couple of years because it's um so atrophied at this point. Or you can go and get a brace, be a full length leg brace, and that'll stabilize you so you'll be able to get around. Or you can let it go, which had never been presented to me as an option before. So I'm 38 years old, and they're like telling me to let it go. I'm telling them, no, I'm keeping it. I'd worked my whole life to keep that leg. I went to a prosthetist to get fitted for the brace, and he happened to be a below the knee amputee. We were discussing my mobility in the brace, which would make it so that I really couldn't bend my leg. I'd have kind of just a stiff limb that I'd be swinging forward, wouldn't have the same action as a regular leg, or if I got a robot leg like he had. And I asked him, what's your experience with this bent? Prostheticist told me that I wouldn't have quite the mobility that I might expect with a full length brace. Wouldn't really be able to bend at the knee. I'd have this pretty much just extra long limb that I have to swing around like a tree branch, which was not the most inviting description. So I asked him what his experience with his particular prosthetic was, below the knee amputee that he was. And he said, I could do pretty much anything I could do before. And that's the way it is with most amputees, is whatever they could do before, they can do again. And especially with legs, they can, there are amputees out there, you couldn't tell they were an amputee unless they were wearing shorts. I mean, that's just, and sometimes people can't even tell I'm an amputee unless I'm wearing shorts. For me, though, the difference was I've always limped. So my back has always had problems. My upper leg is weaker than my right leg. So I still limp with a prosthetic, and it's given me some issues. I, I guess you were asking more about the choice. So I didn't want the brace. The brace didn't seem to make sense. 38, still young. I got young kids. I want to be able to be active with them. So I went and I thought, okay, I'm tired of this. I'll let it go. We went through with it, got the super deluxe robot leg, and it was better for me. It was something that I actually looked back on and thought, I maybe should have done this a couple of years ago. And I was more mobile. I was able to do more things with my kids. I was able to go to the zoo, and I was able to throw the baseball and do a lot of the things that I still wanted to do. So it was a good decision for me, as hard a decision as it was. Now, some of the ramifications, now that I'm 56, you know, I'm still better off. I just have more complications to deal with as a result than I expected. But if I hadn't done it, I'd have different complications that probably would be a lot worse than the ones I have now.
That's a really good story to share.